my name is Marcelo Caplan. I am an associate professor in the Science and Mathematics Department at Columbia College, Chicago. And in addition to work teaching undergrad students that are majors in art and communication, I need to teach them science. I am trying to promote science all the time in non-privileged communities. It's something that I'm doing for the past 20-something years, and it's really my pleasure to looking for ways to communicate STEM in areas where they don't have, I'm not sharing yet, in areas where there's no good access with equity to this kind of education. So that's the reason that I developed this kind of programs, and the one I want to introduce today is promoting computational thinking through remote education in time of the pandemic. So we know that the pandemic threw a wrench into the wheels of everybody of us. Universities closed immediately, and really we need to change from one day to another to make it simple. And the problem of this stuff is that the communities with non-privileged or non-privileged communities, they have this kind of lack of access. And we can see this stuff was very bold. They don't have access to internet access and also to have devices to use this kind of remote education. One of the problems that we have is that there is an assumption that everybody has access to the internet because everybody has a cellular phone. When I was doing the research, I found that the World Bank investigate the access of internet in Latin America, and only 14% of the population has access to the internet in a regular base, and 64% of the business that are currently taking place in Latin America are made into the internet through the cellular phones. So it's not a very conductive way to try to do learning distance or remote distance like we are doing now. So with all this introduction, I would like to start first describing the program that lead to this program that promote computational thinking in the communities with the students. The first step is that during the pandemic, a group of a community organization in Argentina, call it Codo, they contact me and they say if we can do professional development. So from November to January, we implement these 7 remote lessons to the instructors in the community via Zoom, and we use the resources of Tinkercad to emulate a microcontroller, and also they have the opportunity to reach to a couple of Arduino UNO, that is a microcontroller platform, to implement physically the solutions of the problems that through computational thinking they were developing. So we have 14 participants were included in the first, I call it a pilot, and we can say that 9 instructors complete all the sessions. And here it's important to remark that all the communications were also communication, and the teaching was in Spanish, that is the mother tongue in Argentina. This is more or less the curriculum, and this is in Spanish, but the point is that when we will have the opportunity to work, the resources of the instructors that were very limited too, but we have the opportunity to make it happen. So we have 7 instructors that were ready, and here we have our final party that we finishing the class. And this lead to the second point that is the most interesting, that is, okay, now we have a group of instructors that ready. How we move this to the students, to teens that are living in a remote city or remote town in middle of the Patagonia. Patagonia is in the south of Argentina, and they have almost no access to any, let's say, good way to receive actual innovations in their learning. So we decide to create a new program that called Descubriendo tus mundos, aprendiendo a enfrentar desafíos. And because we are doing it remotely, I was contacted by other people from other places, and we integrate also students from Santa Fe, that is a capital city of the Santa Fe state in Argentina also, and from a rural area in the mountains of Cundinamarca in Colombia, that is 1 hour outside of Bogota, but it's in the mountains and it's a very rural community. So these are the objectives of the program, that is develop logical expertise and ability to face challenges. We want the students, like we heard before, that we want the students to be able to solve problems in a creative way, using more resources and not only following instructions. We want the students to have the capability to solve problems using computational thinking methodology, meaning using the decomposition, finding patterns, abstractions, finding algorithm, and using evaluate the program that they construct. And the most important thing is also to include this in a motivational study that it's an international exchange between teams. Okay, we have the international exchange, so people from different range, different places could talk together, but also we can see that they are growing not only in the area that we are trying to explore, but also in their communication skills, etc., etc. Here we have the 10 meetings curriculum. And the methodology was that we are having a Zoom meeting every week. It was Wednesdays between 5 to 7 Central Time, but in Argentina was 7 to 9. So this is important to say that the teachers and the students in Argentina, they were after a long day and they participated very well. We need to recognize that we create also a Google Classroom to use as a repository of the recording and the instructions that we give during the lessons. So if the students has problem of connectivity, they can see the lessons after this. When we talk about the program, we have 34 participants. They were willing to participate in the program. The number was changing according, we were in the middle of the pandemic, so sometimes we have a lot of problems of isolation and communication, but we have 22 students finish. I am saying 22 students and 4 tutors finishing the program. That is, in my point of view, a success given the circumstances. Now, to be able to evaluate the program, we have a content knowledge test and regarding computational thinking skills that they have or not. This test has 30 multiple questions, and also we prepare an exit questionnaire to know what are the impressions of the participants. And here is where we have this, in my point of view, was a part that I was not expecting, is that despite that we insist and we make a lot of efforts to motivate the students to fill the surveys, the rate of return was very low. And this is something that happened also when we are doing presentially, but here he really limited our ability to have any kind of significant assessment of what happened. For example, we have 20 pre-assessment that were complete, and we have only 12 post-assessment that were complete. But when we try to match between them, we can match only 6 of them. Therefore, all this kind of information that I will share with you now is only in some point comparatively, but I cannot use to say, oh, we have a gain or not gain in content knowledge, but we have other assessment that we are doing. That was we need to decide and say, okay, if I don't have enough information from the students, I need to explore what happened from the eyes of the tutors that were involved in the program. So we developed an interview protocol, and I have interviews with 4 instructors, and from them we collect a lot of information of their impressions that they were working with the students inside. So like we like numbers, so let's try to put some numbers here. And I say again that these numbers, because the disparity between the lack of information that I have in my pre and post test, I will not compare between them, but so you can have an idea how was the understanding of the student that participated at the beginning. They were from their understanding or their self-belief regarding their understanding of computational thinking at the beginning was 2.6 of the 20 students. From the assessment of the student that exit the class and they finish the class was 3.89 from a scale from 1 to 5. Okay, it's only to have an idea that we can say also that these 12 that remain were also very involved at the beginning, but they remain to the end of the class. This is something that that's the reason I will not argue the significance of this number, but it's showing that at least the 12 participants that remain at the end of the course, they feel that they progress in their, or they have a good understanding of what computational thinking is. And we can see that also in the gain of the knowledge between the pre-assessment and the post-assessment. Again, I will not say that it's significant. Now, when we deal the questionnaire about the program, we ask in the exit questionnaire, we have 16 replies and four instructors and 12 of the students that are the 12 students that fill all the surveys. And we can say that 88% they want to continue learning by themselves. That, in my point of view, is a success, because many of these students didn't know that this is possible. And 93% they would like to participate in other projects if they will have the opportunity. And I was asking from the students, and the students scored the project very high. We can say that they have a good time and they learn according to what we read in the exit interview. Regarding when we have a couple of open questions, we can see that the participants like the fact that they can interact with people from different regions, something that it's very limited if you don't have the way to do it. And there's an interview protocol. It's very long, it's very tedious, and we was having this interview protocol to have an idea, so how we can gauge the answers of the 4 instructors. And I will summarize here a little bit what instructors say. We have 2 instructors from Santa Cruz, Argentina, that is the organization that started all this process, 1 from Santa Fe and 1 from Cundinamarca. And the common points is that, in particular, in the rural areas that are Santa Cruz and Cundinamarca, the students were crucially challenged by access to the internet. Sometimes we have blackouts and they don't have electricity to run the workshops. This happened one time. Things that we that are used to live in cities and in the first world, that everything works in I will call it a normal way, it's difficult for us to understand that other people has difficulties to do things that for us is normal. Like this conference, it's understandable that everybody has connection, everybody could do this stuff. When we are talking about the rural areas, this premises is not true. One of the communities, they have the opportunity to do a couple of workshops in person, and when they are working in person, the teams express that they find this work better than work remotely. Okay, they prefer to go to these community centers, although they were with safe distance, etc., but they learn more, and I assume that is because the connectivity in the center was better than in their houses. As we explained before, the teens appreciate this stuff, that they can work in the remote world with other people that are in their same situation. And and here was one of the things that I was asking to the instructors, and I want more details. That was if they believe, because it's an opinion, that their students that are participating in the project were gaining something from the program, because I couldn't gauge from the test. So let's see what the instructors believe. And their opinion of all the instructor was categorical, that the program achieved the goal of promoting things to explore. Okay, the point is that in every one of these centers, the teens are, or the students are, continue working in this exploration of how to use the microcontrollers to solve problems using computational thinking. And here was one of the critical points that was totally different. Santa Fe, it's a city, it's a big city in comparison to Commodore Gregores or Cundinamarca. Cundinamarca is a locality in Colombia, but also have little towns like Fusagasugá or Pasca. And for them, they don't receive this kind of programs. And for their teens, this was a very, very positive experience that they were taking care of. This is one of the feelings. This is the feel that for many of the teens say that it's the first time they felt that they are learning and someone is interested in what they are learning that come from outside. That it's one of the big messages. And we have here some evidence that we don't have time to show about this stuff. We have what the kids were doing in the program. And that's it. If you have any questions, please let me know.